Hello everyone and welcome back to the How We Moved to Canada series. In this particular video we're actually going to talk about what we feel is actually the best way for somebody who maybe wants to move to Canada for a longer period or even permanently for you to come in, and that way is via a student visa. Completing your undergraduate degree or your master's degree, we do feel it's the best way to access permanent residency in Canada.
Yeah, as well as technical two-year diploma programs. They're also trade schools. They're also in that list of ways to come here. So on Canada.ca website, when you click on to the student visa page, you can actually see all of the schools that are under that student visa application list. All of the schools won't be qualified, so it's easy. It's always safe to just go to that list first before you apply to a school.
Right. So when you're talking about coming over on a student visa, because that's how you would have came initially, were you able to work?
Yes. So when you come, this is why we believe that this way is the best way, because when you come in on a student visa, you can actually work 20 hours on or off campus during the semester, and up to 40 hours during like the summer and Christmas breaks. So, and this is where you will gain your work experience as well for when it's time to apply for your permanent residency status. So this definitely is, like, I advise you, if you watch the Express Entry video and you know that's not for you, this is something that you can consider. There's a lot of technical institutions there's Holland College that's popular among Bahamians.
Very popular.
There's Centennial College. There's Seneca. There's so many technical schools that are affordable that you can come to, right?
Yeah, especially when you look at the difference between the Bahamian or US dollar versus Canadian dollar. The Canadian dollar is much lower again, so you don't have to have so if you see $20,000 Canadian, it's not necessarily $20,000 in Bahamian money. So just always check the conversion so that you would know exactly what the dollar figure is. But definitely trade schools, undergraduate programs, master degree programs, all of those are ways that you can actually come in and be able to work. And even if you have a spouse, once you are accepted, if you get your student visa, you can actually also apply at the same time for your spouse to come over, and your spouse would also be in a position to get a work permit, and they can actually work full-time.
Yeah. We also wanted to mention in the last video, the system is created for you to be successful. So how to apply for a student visa. So when you apply for the student visa, the first thing you are gonna need is your acceptance letter from the university or college of your choosing. So that's very important. So one of the things to note, always take note of the tuition for that school. So what is required for proof of funds, and I'll probably insert it, is that you have your yearly tuition plus $10,000.
Which would be your living expenses.
Which will cover your living expenses. And then for every family member you have, I just want to quote it so I be correct. For every family member, it's an additional $3,000. So if it's you and your spouse, and your tuition is, say, $7,000 a semester for the year, then they require you to have $17,000 plus
$3,000, so that's $20,000,
which is about $15,000
Canadian, between $15,000 and $16,000.
Right. So it may sound like a lot, but it's setting you up.
Yeah,
so
and it's definitely funds that you could find.
And the good thing about this is I've helped so many people, so many students who are like in university now get their student visa. And one of the things they did, because maybe their parents didn't have the bank statement to say they had the money, what you can do is also find a family member who does have that money.
I know it happens.
Do an affidavit to say that it's almost like a scholarship, that they would be helping with funding of your school and your housing.
Right.
So that's also a way to do it. Yeah. So, but I mean, if you're coming in, you're successful with your student visa, and then maybe you can't afford to pay your tuition. That's why you're allowed to work for 20 hours a week, right? So if you minimum wage is how much?
About $15
About
an hour.
$15 an hour. 15 times 20. I mean, you're gonna be able to at least support yourself while you're here.
Quite easily.
Yeah.
So I mean, you cannot look at it still averages out to at least $300 a week. You cannot discount the importance of being able to work, getting that work experience under your belt, Canadian work experience at that, and also being able to improve yourself, because you would be completing classes. So you would be learning and growing from an educational standpoint as well. So all of these things are going to bring value to you personally. And when you bring value to yourself personally, the Canadian economy sees you as a benefit, and it also betters your chances of becoming a permanent resident here in Canada.
Yeah, so one thing you have to also consider, especially for people who are married, like express entry, there's a age cutoff in a sense. As you get older, you lose 5 points on the CRS on your CRS score. For this system, the student visa system, there's no age cutoff, right? At any age you could learn. So that's the beauty of it. So if you're applying for school and you have a spouse and kids, I mean, I advise you to save that money and try to get here and have your spouse get that work permit, because they could automatically find a job and then help you through school as well. So there's so many benefits to going the student visa route. What I would advise you to do is to go to canada.ca, click on the tab student visa, and it would basically, it's so easy. You create a profile. It gives you a checklist of all the items you need. Your acceptance letter, your ID, you'll have to do the medical and biometrics. And I think this process costs about $156 or $50 roughly. So it's not, the application process is not even as expensive. You could do most of it online.
How much is the student visa?
$150. So that application fee, it's everything. So the only thing other than that you'll be paying for is your medical exam and your biometrics. But I mean, the biometrics is like $50, so it's not as expensive. And your biometrics just mean your fingerprint scanning and all of that security stuff.
So I mean, if you really average it out, to go to school here in Canada, depending on which program you're taking on, and definitely which school you're going to, really and truly you're going to pay the same as you would pay to go to COB.
Depends on, yeah.
Even if you want to move into certain provinces, there are some provinces that are far more affordable than Ontario, where we live.
Don't come in.
And I mean, when I say, I mean super affordable. So you go somewhere like Manitoba, Alberta, things get...
So cold.
It's very cold. But Canada is cold. We're not used to any of this when the cold season comes around. But you're talking about something that's going to be super, super affordable. And it's getting in. Once you get in, you can always make a decision on where you would want to move. But you definitely want to give yourself the best chance. Look at your finances. If you can afford to go to a more expensive school and afford to stay in a more expensive province or more expensive city, then, the choice is all yours. If you know that your funds are limited, then definitely consider a more economical area or pocket-friendly area for yourself. And yeah, I mean, because if you're not used to being in Canada, it doesn't really matter where you go, because all of it is going to be new to you. So always give yourself the best chance to come, and you will get a quality education, and you get a chance to move here permanently.
Yeah, so what we will always advise is, and we'll keep preaching, my husband is the money man. We'll always advise that you at least have some savings, because you don't want to get here and then get stranded and not be able to provide for yourself and end up in unfortunate situations, as well as put your family in unfortunate situations. Right. So we'll always advise. I mean, there's a lot of stories of immigrants who came and were successful, but yes, set yourself up for success the right way, and don't come blindsided and not have some preparation. Please have some preparation.
Anything else?
Yeah, no, that's it.
Okay, so yeah, that's our video on student visas. The application process is going to be pretty
So
straightforward
it's a
once you
breeze.
apply to the school and you get in.
That's all. That's the
The
first
application process, everything online, it basically itemizes what you need. As long as you follow that, you really wouldn't have any issues.
Yeah.
But you can always call someone you know and ask questions about any part of the process that may be confusing to you. And definitely people will always be ready to help.
Use YouTube as a resource. Always search the Canada.ca site. That's always your best resource. Just reach out to people and ask questions. Who's done it before, and you should be good.
Yeah.
It's easy. This is the easy video.
Yeah, definitely. So guys, hope you enjoyed this video and hope you got something from it. So for those of you who are thinking about perhaps changing careers or maybe thinking about going to school, perhaps you should consider Canada for its affordability. You know, the people are super nice. It's a beautiful place to come to, and the possibilities of being able to stay longer term if you want to, permanently if you want to, bettering yourself and going back home to better our country, definitely another option. But consider Canada as the place to come to go to school. Consider it for your children as they prepare to go to college in the next year or few. Yes.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Okay, great. Thanks. Bye-bye.